Go ahead and join these players. I already told them to start. So like we said, is Ahri Cesium representing that Ahri legend, and then Joni. We've seen him before. He might have been known as Natural. I believe that's his other name. He's known out in the community, repping the Annie. So start to peak. Kind of good battlefield for the Ahri player. She's known for infamously holding the fort down. Quite literally, she can hold maybe second to none. Maybe Master Yi can contest her in her capabilities of holding down a battlefield.
Bigger units generally means more might, and more might is not akin to what Ahri plays around. So interesting choice for a first battlefield. I'm hoping it works out, because I want to see this go to 3 games at the very least.
Yeah, you're right. We're usually used to seeing Ahri starting things with like a straightforward battlefield like Dreaming Tree or Grove of the God Willow, but it is an interesting, kind of a bit of an indicator saying that Ahri wants to prioritize going perhaps a little later game to get things off, like Time Warp, maybe those Watcher combos, or even we'll keep an eye out, but ramping 1 as a battlefield is an interesting decision, and we've seen this before from the Annie player. Those sneaky deckhands coming in, getting a clean 1 point so far for the Annie. Man, how do you feel about sneaky deckhand?
I think it is so sneaky. It is the sneakiest deckhand that exists in Riftbound. The fact that you can play that on your first turn to a battlefield, instantly scoring a point, it's a free point.
Right.
It's an absolutely free point.
Oh, and something we just saw from the Annie player, quite the good combo with the Zon Warren's battlefield, the Scrap Heat. When you play discard or kill it, you draw 1, so it synergizes quite well with a battlefield like Zon Warren, with a unit like Traveling Merchant, so you hit it to the discard, netting you a draw 1, and then you draw another one for the Zon Warren, so keep that in mind. So good value. Valuable stuff going on for the Annie player. The Poor is going to be pushing up on the start tape, getting a point for her own, unless there's something like a Gus.
No, just a stacked deck in response. So you were talking about that Ride the Wind Vi combo, where obviously Annie looks to fill her trash as quick as possible, get to 6 points and conquer both battlefields. And so far this deck is pointing to that as the win condition. So I think we might see it this game if she needs it, if Annie needs it.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it, of course. It looks like there's one more rune left, and it will be the Gus, bouncing that Poro back to hand. So kind of minimizing the tempo Ahri has, but she has something up her sleeve, and it will be the On Guard. So Gus reads 3 or less might. Actually, it's 3 or less energy. No, it does say might.
Might.
Right.
Yeah, it is might. So obviously Gust in response to that. The On Guard in response to that. I mean, this is Blue Magic the Gathering all over again, isn't it? It's in response to, sorry, you can't have any fun.
Yeah, I love that about Riftbound. There's so many reactions or actions you can kind of bounce back from each other. But let's see how Ahri wants to finish her turn off. Clockwork going to be played out onto the basic cores. Does he want to do the additional trigger to draw 1? It's their only calm runes, so I think he's gonna forego that for the next turn or for a future turn. Passes it back over to Annie, that sneaky deckhand, not only getting 1 point for the conquer, but staying on the battlefield and getting her another point for the hold. Now let's see, we have seen Annie do things like a Darius, but with only 5 runes up, she's gonna probably just elect to most likely just simply develop her board so far, or we'll see. What else can she possibly have for this turn?
Now, plus, I think you're exactly right, and this is the difference between like good Riftbound players and not so good Riftbound players, is they can take a step back, they can take a breath, they can use a turn to develop their board and not just go, hey, I just want to win and score as many points as we can. We do see the Kaiser Survivor come down, not accelerated, so not willing to put back a rune into the deck, keeping that tempo going. But obviously if Kaiser does conquer, you do get that extra draw, and Annie seems to just want to draw and draw and draw.
Right, and perhaps just a slight telegraph, a bit of something like a Void Seeker perhaps in hand, because you leave 1 rune for not accelerating the Kaiser Survivor, leaving up 3 runes at the ready once Annie's ability gets online at the end of the turn. So has to be mindful that this Ahri player has the Clockwork, so you could keep it super straightforward and go after the Zon Warren yourself. I mean, it's almost like a bait because you don't want to commit anything bigger. So Clockwork, do you get the conquer here, or do you force out the Void Seeker we were talking about? It looks like he's thinking about it.
Oh, we can see that hand hovering over those runes. Does it? I think it might be a hex deck. I think something's coming out anyway.
Yeah, either another
Checking the
gust, but he lets
points.
it go.
Oh, he let
Okay.
him. He let him get the conquer. Ahri ahead 3-2 at the moment.
Yeah, a little bit of that point tempo leads favoring Ahri. She does have her Ahri champion, 2 units on both of these base, so she could probably choose to play one of these, but let's go with the charm, letting us know that she might just have a secondary charm in hand. But what I was trying to get at, the Ahri champion is still online, so she could elect, and we're seeing it here now, to play it onto a battlefield. I would imagine that is interesting decision. How do you feel about that,
I think
BMU?
it's playing around the void. To be
Right,
fair, like
okay.
obviously that can only damage a battlefield. So she did want to establish the Zhonya's by the looks of it. Not hiding it, allowing the opponent to see, like, if you target this, I'm going to save it. So that was a good play, but obviously you then lose a turn of value from that arm.
Yeah, I am used to people playing those blue Aries directly on the battlefield so that it helps hold down that battlefield. But let's see what Annie has for this turn. Of course, the Ahri triggering, lowering that might by 1, so 3-2 right now. Currently enough to conquer Zon Warrens, but of course Ahri has one more rune available. We saw it on guard before. Does she have another one?
Has to be. Oh, it's a stupefy. Okay.
Yeah, virtually almost as good. It brings it down to 2, so trading 1 for 1, but one of these players has a Zon Warrens or a Zonya's Blade or Zonya's Hourglass on their battlefield, but the flight kicking that clockwork. I would imagine the clockwork. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so knocks back the clockwork. So the interesting thing about Zonya's is it is the next time a friendly unit dies, so you can't selectively choose which unit you want to save unless they all die at the same time. So by Kai'Sa conquering that bottom battlefield and forcing those trades or forcing the resource from hand, could have potentially used that Zonya's, when obviously as the Ahri you want to use it to save your champion, right? You don't want to use it to save the little 2-drop that's not really going to do an action.
Oh yeah. And man, the value, one more time, the scrap heat gets put back, so that's virtually 4 draws he got, or 2 additional draws on top of those draws he's been getting from Zon Warrens. But the big bag champs hitting board, Darius coming online for the Annie player, and it is that secondary card played for the Darius, so comes in with 7, comes in ready, going straight for the pour, even with the Ahri ability, bringing it down by 1 might, still going in for the 6, but now the Zonya's Hourglass, since you don't get to choose exactly like you were saying, BMU, has to trigger on that Poro. You don't ever want to save that Poro, but it is what it is, sends it back to the base. And honestly, Ahri not looking in the worst position despite Annie having full battlefield control at the moment.
Yeah, I would say Ahri's now like on the sort of back foot here. There's a few units in the base that can make a difference, but Annie's building up this board now. They've got 2 runes open, they've got 5 cards in hand, and don't forget, if Ahri can't take the top battlefield away from Annie, he gets to channel another exhausted rune. That's going to let him power up very, very quickly up to that big Vi combo.
Yeah, we'll see if she has something to try to conquer down against that Darius. Tapping a whole lot of runes is looking like the Watcher.
Watcher? Yeah. It has to be. You know that Watcher's coming with those many runes and 2 blue returns. That Watcher has to be on its way. But where do you send it?
Yeah, it does come in with Accelerate, so I mean, pick your poison is not a bad idea whichever way you go. One of them has just 1 might, the other one just a lowly 2 might, so it doesn't really matter. And to make matters worse, this Ahri comes in, minusing all the way down to, oh, hey, this is actually a card that reads, no, why did he minus it to -1? That it's to a minimum of 1, so it should just have 1 in general.
This actually heals the Ahri with a -1.
Right.
No, it doesn't really.
But okay, we see a nice cheeky ride the wind to save the Darius. So Darius is one of those priority targets you want to try to keep as safe as possible as long as you can. So we're seeing that from the side of Joni, protecting the Darius, foregoing the Kai'Sa for now. But Darius is the type of character that once you conquer and you're able to hold, you can do some amazing things like bring it back, play 2 cards, and ready it again. So I like this decision from Joni to try to save this Darius down the road. Of course, a 7 might, nothing to scoff at. It's quite amount of might. enough to probably take down the Clockwork. But with the Ahri on top of the Ahri champion ability, I don't think he's going to be able to take down the Star Tip so easily.
Yeah, Star Tip's going to be a great holding position for Ahri. And I just want to know the genius. I've never seen this done before. I've never seen someone accelerate a Watcher and then not use it. He didn't need to use it.
Yeah,
He just
5
kept
head.
it there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just saving it for the following turn, indeed, because you could have sent it in either direction, but just trying to preserve that full 7 might unit for the future. And Kaiser number 1 went down, but here goes Kaiser number 2 trying to conquer Zon Warrens. And I love this play because you choose to draw first, and then you decide to discard before you draw an additional card. So 2 draws for 1 minus. You can never go wrong with that play. On top of that, Annie's going up to 5, so tying things up 5-5. These players are pretty neck and neck so far, and on board presence as well. I can't even tell who has a bit of a foothold on each other. This is a good game so far.
It's really even, and although like the top Star Tip peak doesn't seem that strong because of Ahri's legend ability and the champion ability, that's a really hard battlefield to score into. And obviously you've just got a Kaiser there, but the falling star, and that is absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
What a card that is.
Even if you had 1 rune available for something like the 5, that's what makes Falling Star so incredibly powerful. 3 damage on 2 units and is undefiable. You have to use something like a Wind Wall, which is 4 runes, and no one really has 4 runes available on your opponent's turn. So man, devastating card when Kaiser uses it, devastating card when Annie uses it to his full potential, and allowing the sneaky deckhand to go up to 6 for the Annie. So not tying things up, but evening things out for that nice and clean 6 points. 2 more points and that could lead her to victory, of course. But Ahri has so many runes to work with. At this point, she could go with another Watcher, but does she need it is the question. Something perhaps like a Sprite Mother could be a slightly more efficient, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you, but it looks like 6 and returning to blue. Not a card we see very often. The Riptide Rex deals 6 damage to an enemy unit. It's a great card, and it's cleared up there. The tempo now of the Watcher swinging in, and I think they might conquer both battlefields here if they've got another accelerated unit.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about the 2 battlefields, but definitely looking at 1 since Ahri just has 2 more runes available for the remaining of the turn. But Joni thinking about, does he want to try to do something like a heck? I mean, he has 2 runes, so I could only imagine he's either flight or ride the wind. Does he want to push the Watcher back? Or does he want to perhaps use a Ride the Wind to send the sneaky deckhand onto the Zon Warrens to not only conquer an additional point, but once Ahri passes the turn back, that's a hold point. If this is a Ride the Wind and there's nothing like a Defiant Ahri's hand, this is almost all but over. This is going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, this tells me, though, that the fact that Annie's sitting here thinking doesn't have the combo in hand. Might have one bit of it, but definitely doesn't have both. Because if you're on 6 points as an Annie and you have those combo pieces, whatever happens now doesn't matter. You kind of want this just to go ahead.
Yeah, let's see. He's definitely thinking strongly about this decision. Doesn't want to get defined, but decides to let it go. So Ahri going up to 6 herself. And let's see what she has. I would imagine she's just going to leave these 2 runes available for something like a Discipline, perhaps something like a Defy in case she needs it. But she only has 3 cards in hand, so there's not a whole lot of answers available to her. So our Annie player does have to be slightly mindful of that. She doesn't have an incredible amount of resources to work with, and considering the card economy currently. Darius keeping it straightforward, trying to see if he can just conquer for 1. This is going to be tough, though, because getting over a Watcher, not only do you have to get over the Watcher, which is 7 might, Ahri ability takes you down by 1, so effectively you need an 8 might unit to just get over the Star Tip peak. I don't know if Joni has that this very turn.
Doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like the Annie wants to take any risks at the moment. They're on 7 points. They've got a fairly strong unit on that bottom battlefield on the Zorns, just waiting for something to swing into it. They might just click end turn here and leave 6 runes up, leave the Ahri guessing. and maybe just play into that tempo, into that mind game a little bit. But this has been back and forth here. This is sweet. Like, we thought Ahri had a foothold, then the falling star comes in, and we think, oh, Annie can't possibly come back. And then all of a sudden, the Ahri's on 6 points, ready to go to their 7th. This is anyone's game at this point.
Absolutely. Both players having the answers when they need them. And Annie trying to see if she has the answers right here, right now. Does she have the combo we've been talking about this entire match? The Vi, ride the wind. She has the runes, but does she have it in those 5 cards right now in hand? Because that would definitely win the matchup. You just need to conquer one. I just think Joni's thinking about, I have a funny feeling there is a Defy in Ahri's hand, and I don't want to run straight into it. I want to try to perhaps play around it. Let's see how Joni pilots this turn, because this is a very important pivotal turn. He starts with 2 runes. I would imagine that's perhaps the Vi we've been talking about. Okay, never mind.
Go up to 5 and recycle a red. Is that Darius?
Yeah.
It is. Just wanted to play the hold game then, I think. But, you know, blue does have... Oh, I'm trying to work out what the Annie wants to do here. Just place the Darius to base eventually. Looks like they're hovering over that battlefield, but don't want to get just absolutely stung by some big blue removal spell that we see a lot of.
And we were just talking about it. He needed the 8 might, but he's definitely going to get a little bit more. A total of 9 total might going to be going to start to peak. Is this enough, or does he going to have to face something like a discipline or on guard? Is 9 to 7 currently sufficient enough to get over, but something like discipline would tie things up. So 7 plus a 2, bringing it up to 9 to 9. So even trade, and Annie's all but tapped out. Wait a minute, BMU. If there's another watcher, Ahri might just take this home, because you could conquer one with Riptide. Watcher comes in for the second conquer. Do you think he has something like that in hand?
I mean, this is going to be top deck. This is going to be heart of the cards. We're leaning into the Yu-Gi-Oh anime here. Like, it's anyone's game at this moment in time, and this is absolutely brilliant. This is what we want to see at these tournaments in Riftbound. We don't want to see the 2-0 stomps where someone doesn't score a single point. We want these back and forth matches, and these 2 players are absolutely delivering.
Oh, and the fact that Joni's kind of saying, hold up, wait a minute, is kind of a little bit of a telltale sign that he perhaps has a flight or flight for one of these units that are trying to conquer and score this very turn. He's going to let this one be. I believe he's going to let this go up to 7, so just playing it out. I like that he took a moment there to let the Ahri player know, and Ahri just straight up passed. She had no reasonable plays to get done in that turn, and that's huge. That's a big opportunity for Annie. I mean, I say a big opportunity, but when an Ahri player, a common mind player, passes a turn with a full set of runes, I am terrified.
Absolutely, and we're seeing some action here, but what do you do into 8 runes as Ahri?
Yeah, I mean, think about what that can be.
They pass the turn back. They pass the turn back.
Oh,
I think they, yeah. This is still Ahri's turn. I think Annie started a bit early or something like that. I'm not sure what happened, but this is back to Ahri's turn.
Interesting, because Joni drew a card. Did he put the card back in the deck?
Yes, he did. Yeah,
okay,
and he untapped his runes and everything. Yeah.
I was just about to say that was an interesting play, but a Sona, we don't get to see it too often, but of course it would be in the hands of an Ahri player. Gets played directly to join the side of Riptide Rex. Is that going to be enough? Because Annie has some good pressure, but currently not that on the base. So what is that a total of 10 total might? So effectively you need 11 total just to get over that. Not accounting for anything of like a combat spells coming in. So we'll see. This is going to be tricky. I think Ahri could very well be solidifying things. And okay, I must have missed something. She just... Oh, no, okay. She didn't want to go with a play, and she left. Yeah, she just left everything up, right?
Yeah. So the Sona readies 4 runes at the end of your turn.
Of course.
So those 4 runes that tapped become untapped, and now as Annie, you're looking at a big battlefield held by Ahri, which is what the legend wants to do, and 6 runes up. This is anyone's game.
Yeah, anyone's game indeed, but trying to figure out the puzzle here. Void Seeker onto the Sona. It was going to be doing 4 damage, but now it's going to be having to do 6 damage. So Sona goes from 4 to 1. I was almost going to say 6, but it's not the only unit on a battlefield standing alone, so you only get the +1. Still going to be enough to stay alive. So the Sona has currently 4 total damage, virtually 1 HP, so something like a Hextech Ray, even a simple, I was almost going to say a Stupefy. I forgot we weren't Kaiser here. But yeah, she would need another spell to get it done. So let's see how he approaches these next moves.
I mean, Annie is essentially Kaiser with all the spells, just missing that slight element. But we see Darius being pumped up, ready now. 7 might gonna swing in, and that's gonna be 7 versus 11. But don't forget, there's 4 damage on the Sona. Sorry, 6 versus 11 because of the Ahri ability. So this isn't a trade at this moment in time, unless there's another spell lying around.
Yeah, he does have 2 runes available, so something like a Cleave can come down, but decides to just trade 1 for 1 for the Riptide. But this isn't too fortunate for Annie, because now that the combat resolves, a cleanup occurs, and Sona goes back to 5 HP, so the damage completely removed. But does it really matter when we're talking about it? Here it is, BMU, the Vi Ride the Wind combo, moving a whopping 19 total might unit. I mean, was there a Defier, a Wind Wall, anything? I don't think we're seeing a response from Ahri.
There's something coming. It's a retreat, but that doesn't save you the game? No, that's it. It's over.
It's over.
That was a weird combination. I don't know why they held the vibe back when they had the combo, but there must have been some high-level reasoning I'm not thinking of.
In Dream Retreat for a good reason, though. She does have things like a flash, retreating 2 units, not only keeping them safe, but netting them 1 draw on top of that as well. So this is still going to be a cool match to see.
This is going to be a value matchup. Both legends here picking card draw battlefields. And what do we know about these 2 champions and legends? They love having cards in hand. They love having those reactions to all the damage and all the spells that can come out. And Ahri starting fairly strong and normal here, going straight for that top battlefield for the hold.
And I was almost going to think it was a Hextech Ray, but it's going to be a stacked deck. See the top 3 cards just to see what he wants to pick up and put one in the hand. But just taking advantage that a chain did open up, since this showdown did get started on Ahri's side. But wait, no, Ahri was on the play. This is her second turn. That's why she has the 4 runes. So still able to do something following this Clockwork Conqueror, if it does go through, of course.
Yeah, exactly right. And they still the reaction here. And we do see a Gus coming out of the Annie, not wanting him to score any points too early. But we see the same reaction out of the Ahri last time. The On Guard boosting it to 4, holding it there. I mean, it's a lot of resource to hold that Conquer. Are you that desperate for the point, or was the On Guard possibly saved for later on?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Annie. She's kind of quick, so you want to try to capitalize and hold the tempo or push the pace when you can. So I like this On Guard. It could be seen as a little bit premature, but that's what Gus is trying to do, is trying to take the tempo away from you. So I like this kind of counterplay with the Clockwork, going up to 4 and bringing her up to 1 point. And now you do have a little bit of a tricky situation for Joni, because you want to try to maybe take down 2 of these battlefields if you can with an accelerator, but going with a simple Gus number 2 on the offense, this is an interesting decision.
Yeah, just pushing it away, because it seems like they have this. This would tell me the Annie doesn't have any damage spells in hand or anyone they want to use, so they're just trying to push Ahri off this battlefield, and it is going to succeed, and then the Poro can just go and take it for the free conquer.
Yeah, I think that was just Joni really prioritizing Ahri not drawing any additional cards from this grove. Joni knew he wants to send his Poro into the Dreaming Tree, but he has no other unit to try to accelerate and push onto the grove. So let's go ahead and gust there. Not a bad position. And of course, this makes so much sense now, because I was like, he's kind of letting these gusts go a little quick. And whoa, he drew both of them. He meant to only draw 1. He put the whole discard in his hand there. We got to be careful with Joni.
Hey, I mean, if only Annie could do that in real, you know, just bring back all the spells to your hand. Can you imagine the chaos?
Oh, yes. Tier, S tier legend there. Even though she's quite high tier, I would say. But I'm loving it so far. Getting that champion out nice and early. Recurring that Gus, I would imagine, because we saw him put the discard back. It was a Gus stacked deck. So picking up another Gus. We didn't see the exact target, but that's the only other available option. Throwing it back over to the Ahri. And let's see what she has in mind. We talked about it before. Will be the Sprite Mother. That looks like it's going to be going straight to the Poro. Does Annie have something like we've seen before? I mean, we know she has the Gust. This is not a bad target because tokens don't go back to the hand.
Yeah, exactly right. But it's using resource on spells that can have so much more value later on. Like, are you that determined to hold on to these early battlefields that when you know Annie is late game? But it looks like the flash being used, so he is going to get a draw out of it. But again, that's another very high value late game card put into the trash.
Yeah, it is a good card because usually you want to use it when you have 2 units separately on battlefields to try to get the full use of that card. But still, I think Joni prioritizing just the +1 draw, maybe not having the best hand currently, trying to look for more answers down the road. So I can respect that decision. Perhaps maybe he has another flash in hand, but I think more likely than not, he just wants to have a little bit more answers for this following turn. We're going to see the Gust that he brought back from Annie pop in. That is actually interesting because a temporary unit doesn't stick around. I think this is just Johnny saying he doesn't have anything like a Cleave or a Darius to try to push that Sprite token away.
No, this tells me this Annie's hand is not great. Whatever they mulligan did not work out for them. It tells me that there's no damage spells in hand because you would use them, wouldn't you? If you wanted to like use resources like this, you would use those damaging spells, potentially drawing extra cards. But we do see a double conquer from Annie, so far the plan seems to be working. But only 2 runes up, 2 cards in hand. You're facing an Ahri that already has units on the board. What do you do here, Annie? I think you're losing tempo.
Yeah, I would only imagine. We saw Flash before. If a Flash comes down now, it is actually a pretty powerful move, and we're seeing it again. Not only, as we said before, you get the +1 draw from the Dreaming Tree, but you're keeping your entirety of your board state safe, bringing back the Annie, bringing back the Poro. I mean, little units do end up adding up at the end of the day. If we look at it now, you have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 total worth of might power to push into Ahri. Keep in mind, those are -1 for each, so Ahri's legend ability quite powerful in this situation. And interesting, we don't get to see the Wilder Water too often in these Ahri decks.
No, it's definitely a tech choice versus Annie, I think, just to kind of resist some of those big swings and put a bit more might into that, especially with Ahri's, as you said, legend ability, bringing stuff down to -1. I know Annie's got a base full of units, but it feels to me like Ahri is in control right now. Like, Annie's burned a lot of savior spells, those flashes, those gusts.
Yeah.
And the trash isn't that big. You haven't been able to cycle through.
Yeah, total 5 currently, but you're not wrong. We're seeing a lot of her notorious spells, things like Flash, things like Gust already being expended. We do still have a couple fighter flights. We have a full set of Rider wins, so she's not completely out of the woods in terms of answers. So keeping it straightforward, Sneaky Deckhand goes into the Grove. Is there any response from the Ahri? Can she even do anything? No, she cannot. So
no, I don't imagine.
And this might be that Darius coming down.
Very scary at this sort of mid-game size, you know, something being coming in as rush essentially, with 7 might swinging directly into a battlefield can be scary, but it looks like he's just coming exhausted. It was the first card this turn, right?
Yeah, well, he pushed in with the Sneaky, so he didn't play anything. So he played it first, and then Vi was the second card, activating the Darius ability. So now he becomes ready. Now he gets the +2 might and looking straight for that Sprite Mother on the Dreaming Tree. Does he want to send it over? He's gonna be taking a quick little thinker and saying, what can she possibly have with 2 runes? Let's weigh up all our options. With 7 might enough? Is there any way I'm possibly getting punished here? I think you're safe with 7 total might. Make that 6 with the legend ability. I think the worst case scenario is a double on guard, and that's a little bit unlikely if you ask me.
Yeah, I think it's very unlikely, but in my mind, as the Annie player here, it's like, look, I'm taking this battlefield. I'm going to my 5th point, but next turn is the Accelerated Watcher. And he's already got 2 units in base, means he can double conquer and possibly hold for that value out of the Dreaming Tree as well.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like Annie will gain that 1 point for the Conquer with the Darius, and I like this retreat. So much value right there. Not only do you channel a rune, not only do you draw one, but you get another quote-unquote accelerated unit the following turn, something that can easily take care of the sneaky deckhand if you choose to do so. But I like what you were saying, the Watcher. It is time. You have 10 runes available. You just need 8 of those runes to make that Watcher accelerated. Wielder could take down any of these units with -3 on all of them. So we'll see. Okay, maybe he doesn't have a Watcher, just going for the clean attack first.
Yeah, it's well worth sort of seeing what your opponent does when you do this. Like, there are a couple of runes up for Annie. There's always a couple of runes up for Annie, obviously, because of the ability.
Right.
But it might not be the right time for the Watcher. There's a lot of units in base. You've got to watch out. If Annie gets to 6 points and she has that Ride the Wind, that could just end the game right now. Obviously, there's not a lot for Annie. It's not going to be a 20 might vibe, but it's still going to be a threat.
Yeah, a threat indeed. I mean, we're looking at this card now. It has 6 total units, basically meaning 6 might on top of the 3. So 9 total might is reasonable. It's respectable, and something we saw earlier with the previous
the
Ahri.
Blitz.
Yeah, the Blitzcrank. Who's going to be the likely target? I mean, pick a target. You can't go wrong, and it will be, of course, the Vi, the most dangerous target on Joni's side. So you got to respect it, and that's going to be going down to 2. Not too formidable in this state, in this current board state. So I think, yeah, this is going to be good for the Ahri player, taking down the biggest threat on Annie's board. And just trading 1 for 1. Actually, it's a tank, of course. Everyone seems to forget Blitzcrank has tanks, so the damage has to be assigned onto himself before it gets distributed onto any other unit.
Exactly right, and that Blitzcrank hook coming in clutch. All I've got flashbacks is to League of Legends ranked, where that Blitzcrank hand comes out of nowhere, drags your ADC into it, and that's it. Game over. GG. No re. And Blitzcrank here, just completely doing what it should do, pulling that Vi in, taking out that 6-point threat, and Annie only has 1 card in hand.
Yeah, not looking in the most promising position. On top of this, thinking about the card discrepancy between these two players, Joni with just 1 point and Ahri with an abundance of plays. Yeah.
Amazing, using the smoke screen there to clear out the Darius, scoring 2 points. It's 5-5. Annie's going to be on 8 runes. Does have a few units in base, but only 2 cards in hand to make something work. How do you possibly overcome this foothold here from Ahri? Don't forget, Ahri's got that legend ability. Everything's -1. It's going to be a struggle.
Yeah, I think it will be a struggle for sure. Let's see. A falling star could make matters better. Yeah, that should be enough to take care of a Wielder and a Ravenbloom if he chooses to target 2 separate targets. But kind of hovering over the Blitzcrank, saying Blitzcrank has tank. Do I just double up and do a total of 6 damage onto the Blitzcrank? You got to be careful though, because if you take out the Blitzcrank, the Wielder Water just comes up to 4 might himself. So you don't have the best options, because Wielder Water was just at 2 total might currently. But now that he's defending alone, goes up to 4. I wonder if that's something he was thinking about before.
Yeah, I think he had to. The Vi comes down, but obviously we don't have any Ride the Wind to initiate that Vi. The Traveling Merchant can actually get a free card for the Annie here just by moving. But do you want to throw away potentially 2 might when you kind of need these battles? Ahri only with 1 rune up, but that could be an on guard, right? 1 rune?
Yeah, 1 rune is all it takes for on guard to protect this. Now, it's a +3 might on something like a Ravenbloom. So we're seeing Annie throw everything in the kitchen sink onto that Dreaming Tree. So 3, 5, 6, 7, -3 along those. So she's just attacking with 4 total might. On guard actually gets this done because it brings up the Ravenbloom up to 5 total might, which is insane to just think about that.
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't look like that is going to be the case. No, the Raven Bloom goes to the trash. Ahri does get the card draw, goes up to 6, but obviously we're going to see the Grove of the God Willow trigger here. Gives the Ahri an extra card in hand, a lot of resources compared to the Annie, and this could be the final stages of this game unless Annie has something. Oh, it's another Void Seeker.
That's enough. That is enough to neglect the point, because you don't go from that nice even point, because you had, or even if you did go to 6, you would only be able to conquer, but still keeping her at 5. But it looks like she had that Defy waiting in hand for for the perfect opportunity. It does get defied, so Joni doesn't even get the draw 1 on top of that. And to make matters worse, Ahri will get the whole point, so goes up to 6 herself. 2 more points. These guys again for another game. Great toe-to-toe match. I would imagine there could be something like a tasty Faith Folk with accelerated, but oh, I remember now, the Sprite Mother was the pickup before with that retreat, so utilizing it now, perhaps just trading 1 for 1, unless there's something like a Stupefier on guard that we're seeing right here.
Yeah, could have actually got a bit more value out of that on guard, right? If you'd have played it after it hit the battlefield, you get to draw an extra 1.
I thought he did.
In the grand scheme of things,
did he not draw?
It looked like he played before. No, I don't know. Looked like he played it before. But either way, it works. It got through. Annie is definitely on the back foot. A top deck Ride the Wind.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how many cards are in hand. I mean, in the discard, there's 14 total, so that would get it done. But you have to be mindful. There is 2 total runes at the ready for Ahri. We saw 1 Defy. There's 4 cards remaining in Ahri's hand. I'm willing to bet there is another Defy looming around the corner. So I wouldn't feel too safe at that top deck. The one and only top deck you have would be indeed the Ride the Wind, but maybe nothing's really impossible in these card games.
Can you imagine a Ride the Wind off the top? No Defy in hand for the Ahri, but I don't think it's in the cards. I don't think it's in the cards right now.
Yeah, I'm not thinking it's too likely, but nothing is impossible. As we said, looking through the discard, saying, what are my options? Do I want to try to play something like a stacked deck? Look to the top 3. What is the likelihood I can top deck or dig a little deeper to find something like that Ride the Wind? I mean, it's not looking too promising for this Annie player. I think Ahri's going to be taking us to a game number 3, but let's just see. I mean, he's going for it. He decides to recycle only a portion of his discard, bringing up the Vi up to 10, or up to 11, now 10 with the Ahri ability. This is a very interesting decision. We usually see Vi go all in or nothing, but going about half of the way there, only choosing to recycle about 8 total cards with the ability.
Yeah, strange turn of events. Probably means that the Annie is about to scoop, but there's still options. You never know.
Oh, an accelerated Kaiser will be the option. Wait a second. She's saying if I had the cleave, that would almost be the way, but it would go 4-4, so you're trading evenly. Wait a second. If it was 4-4, why didn't he send the Vi to the... Oh, no. He needed something. There was way more might on the Dreaming Tree, of course. Right.
There was, yeah, and he just flashed the top deck cleave as well, just to show him, like, you're 1 card away, my friend. You're 1 card away. But GG, Ahri equalizes the series.
I think we're going to see something similar in this game as well with that Dreaming Tree. But of course, Annie just chose a Dreaming Tree for game 2, so she's going to be able to capitalize on that battlefield as well. So on those battlefield selections alone, I'm slightly leaning towards this Annie player. But of course, anything can go down if you don't draw the proper cards. If you don't make those optimal plays, anything can happen. So let's see how this game goes down in this final best of 3 match in this game 3 of our round number 4. And oh, that always stings to start things off with a Vi. Ouch.
Wow, that shows me that this Annie is not had a good start to this game. I know you want to get stuff down, you want to sort of get those early points, but Vi? That has to be a desperation move to me.
Yeah, sometimes it just is what it is. You rather have some kind of board development rather than just leaving the board with nothing online. At least you get to conquer up. You go from that 1 to 2 since Arena's Greatest already gave you a point. And this is what he wished he had the previous turn. Something like the Pouty Puro just to set up for the follow-up. So passes it back, not too bad. At the very least, Yordle can't simply just conquer against Vi so easily. You're going to have to do a pump spell, something like the On Guards we saw before, and that is pretty good for the Ahri players, especially considering that that is indeed on the Dreaming Tree. But I think he pushed the Vi in for a reason on that battlefield, because I'm willing to bet Joni also has something in mind with that ability.
Yeah, it looks like the Sprite Mother for the token, plus the On Guard, raising that to 5 might. And this is going to force some sort of reaction spell out of Annie, but it's already low on cards, they're low on tempo, and now they're recycling another rune for Ride the
Ooh.
Wind to get Vi away, but obviously moves over to the battlefield safely. Loses the point, loses a conquer, but Vi stays alive. But look how little resources Annie already has. This is a rough start.
Yeah, and I love those kind of plays from Annie. Not only do you get the +1 from targeting Vi on Dreaming Tree, but you get to send it over to Arena's Greatest, conquering an additional point. And because Yordle can't take Arena's Greatest this turn with only 2 might and no runes available, you're gonna get a total of 2 points from that one play, one for the conquer, and then once you pass it back you get one for the hold. So this is what we meant by Annie being as aggressive as possible, fully making use of starting with 1 point up. So as we saw, Annie is halfway to the final point total, 4 total points already, incredibly fast.
Yeah, this is aggro versus control, like as standard. And I know a lot of these like Annie decks play slightly control-y, where they're sort of playing spells and reactions and bouncing units here and there. But right now, this Annie is full aggro. They're looking for those early point scores. And as you said, already halfway to victory if you just count points. But right now, the tempo is in the hands of Ahri, but this Void Seeker coming down might change that.
Yeah, choosing the targets, going after the token, the temporary token that was gonna die anyways, but just trying to let the smaller unit stay on the board for perhaps a 1-for-1 trade, unless of course you have something like a cleave. But never mind, there's ganking on that Vi, using the Vi ability already just to recycle 1 unit to make it tough. Even if she had runes available, a discipline or on guard wouldn't be enough to save it. I like this full use of Vi. How much points has this Vi got? I think this Vi alone has gotten Annie 4 total points. No, we were just kind of not bashing him, but kind of critical of him letting that Vi go as early as turn 1. But look how much he's turned it around and used it to his advantage. So impressive from Joni.
I absolutely throw my hands up. I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I admit I was wrong. Joni is clearly the Vi god here.
Right.
Knew exactly what he was doing, knew what turns he could play, knew what cards he could have in hand, knew how the art react, and this Vi has gained him so many points already. Great use of an early Vi there. We usually see it as that late game finisher, but clearly Joni knows best in this situation.
Yeah, true Annie pilot we're witnessing. So let's see how he continues his momentum, because he is full gas, no brakes. But of course, Ahri trying to slow things down. Sends the Sprite Mother over to the Dreaming Tree. Stupefy, I would imagine on the Vi, but you usually see the Stupefy on your own unit to get that nice and cheeky +2 draws. But I think in this situation, you value the trade better than the draw power.
Yeah, Stupefy already replaced itself in hand, obviously, with that draw feature. But obviously, Annie now taking advantage of the flash as well. Going to flash that Vi back into base. Going to get the draw off the Dreaming Tree. And this is looking really good. The only thing that Annie's going to struggle with is that rune count. There's not a lot of plays, but it doesn't seem like he needs it right now.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he needs it if all he needs is something like a Ride the Wind, but the flash, yeah.
The Fi onto the flash, so that's going to lose the Vi if he doesn't have another answer out. So the Stupefy goes through, it kills the Vi, he gets to draw 1, he takes control of that battlefield. And we were just saying, like the Annie, that flash gave him so much value. The Defy gave him the Ahri even more value. What a play.
Right. Yeah, just going back and forth there.
Yeah, this is a great game between two very experienced players, showing us like this is why you have big hand size. This is why you have runes up. It's all well and good playing big, champions and legends to the board, but if you can't answer what your opponent's doing, then they're fodder at the end of the day. And both of these players doing amazing. I wouldn't be surprised to see either of these in the top cut.
Yeah, we'll see. Unfortunately, I think one of these might not make it because, as we said before, X2 record is a little shy of making it to the top 4. Top 8, you would definitely make it, but a top 4, a little bit too tough. But let's see how Joni could potentially close things out very soon. They're at 5 points. Conquer with a Portal brings them up to 6. I would almost gonna say if he had something like one more rune, he could do something like a Cleave Darius and get 2 more points online this turn, but this doesn't feel that great. You're gusting a Sprite Mother that gets full value on being played, but just protecting the battlefield, trying to prioritize holding points, so keeping it nice and safe, going up to 5 total might, so you can't gust a 5 might, or rather a 3 or more, so has to deal with that another way. And he will, at least what she was thinking about before, going to be sending the portal in, getting up to that 1 extra point, up to that nice and even 6 points. But man, I think that Sprite Mother holding is kind of big for the Ahri. This is slowly but surely kind of shifting tides, I feel, towards the Ahri player.
Yeah, the only thing is Annie's starting to build a bit of tempo, a bit of momentum. The trash is starting to, get a few cards in, plenty of cards in hand, rune numbers starting to build up. And of course, don't forget, on 6 points as well, very close to finishing out that game already.
Yeah, super close. Just 2 more to get the job done. Sneaky Deckhand, you would love to see it on an empty battlefield, but just playing it onto the board. Just get full use and use all your runes when you can, since Annie's ability gets 2 back at the end of the turn. But already does get the whole point like we mentioned before, so goes up to those 4 points so far. Wilderwater should be enough unless there's something like a flight to try to push it back. Doesn't have it. It looks like he's gonna choose to just let that portal go for now.
Yeah, it's tough as the Annie, because even if you do have something like a fight or flight or some sort of damage spell that would even that trade out, it's so many resources. That power cost, recycling those runes, is so detrimental. The Annie needs a few runes to be able to get the combo out and to secure the victory. So the Ahri's doing the exact right thing, but this next turn, I think, is really going to determine, and the Ahri Inquisitive coming out as well, but just played the base for now.
Yeah, doesn't want to take any risk of something like a spell, like a Void Seeker that we've seen Annie play in the past. Sends it back over. This is Annie's turn. If she's able to conquer both battlefields in this very turn, of course, a whole lot easier said than done. Ahri has a whopping 4 runes available on the opponent's turn, so it's not going to be so easy with things like Defy. But BMU, we saw 2 Defies already this game 3, right? Or was that just 1?
I think it was just 1.
Just 1? Okay.
The trash. But you see Gust coming out. That's going to blow back the Wielder of Water unless we see an On Guard. And it looks like it might be... Oh, a Discipline even.
Virtually the same. Gonna be bringing it out of the range of the Gust, so keeping it nice and safe. And Discipline reads for the entire turn, so you're gonna get that +2 might plus the +2 might you get from holding alone. So now you're gonna have to take that down with something like a 7 might unit, make that 8 might unit because of the Ahri legend ability. So I don't think Joni's gonna be winning this turn, and like I was speculating, it almost feels like the tides are turning a little bit, unless this is potentially a Darius Cleave, but instead going for the simpler target of the Sprite Mother on the tree. I think this should be enough.
Yeah, I don't see a response that the Ahri could have. They should have, if they played the Ahri Inquisitive to that battlefield, they could have held 2. There is something coming down. It's a retreat, so he's going to get the value draw off the Dreaming Tree as well, and saves that Sprite Mother. So good turn. You give up another point, and he's going to go to 7. Very close to closing this game out. 1 mistake from the Ahri, and that could be all she wrote in the series.
Yeah, 1 saving grace for Annie, as that Ahri can't win on the very next turn. Even if Wielder stays, that's going to be netting her up to 6 points. All she can do at best is conquer one more battlefield on that turn, so you go up to 7. So Annie is guaranteed to at least get one additional play, so she has to be cognizant and keep in mind, how can I best play around considering the fact that I have one more turn at the minimum to play out my cards and try to close things out. As you said, you're at 7 points. You need just one more, either a hold, which is kind of unlikely, or a double conquer with something like another Darius, if you could perhaps flash this Darius here.
Yeah, a flash on the Darius would obviously net Annie another card and save the Darius, and then you've got 7 might, potentially 9 might, sitting in your base ready with open runes. That could be the play to Annie to victory. Ahri's now trying to do some math in her head to say, like, hey, can I conquer this, and do I have enough runes open afterwards in order to survive any shenanigans by Annie? And we're gonna see the Blitzcrank. I love a Blitzcrank. What a play.
Yeah, it seems it's probably the strongest legend you could play Blitzcrank on. Not only does it trigger the Ahri ability, but Blitzcrank has the tank, so you're going to have to do all the damage onto it. Darius coming in for 4 might, not even enough to get down, but keep in mind, you are the attacker. I was just about to say, you are the attacker in this situation from the charm, so you can play things as a reaction, or action rather, with the cleave, bringing up that Darius to 7. If you have another one that's going to be triggering the ready ability from Darius, but I don't know if you want to use that many resources this very turn.
On guard puts Blitzcrank up to 6, right? Because obviously it's not defending alone, so it only gets a +1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's not... Blitzcrank's still going to die, but at least he maintains sort of control of the battlefield. I mean, I don't think that was needed, was it? Oh, it was, yeah, because obviously Blitzcrank was 5, that was 2, that would have been 7. Yeah, the Darius would have cleared up there.
Yeah, it saved 1 unit on the board, and a pretty good unit, because now it goes up to 4 now that you're defending alone. You're going up to 7. Ahri tying things up. We said about the mid game, the tides were turning. Ahri shifting it towards her favor, and we're seeing it kind of come to fruition in this end game. Full battlefield control in her presence. Can this Annie player turn things around? Something like a Void Seeker plus an accelerated Kaiser, but I don't even know if that would be enough in this situation. Ahri having quite the lockout. This is tough for Annie.
Yeah, so Annie, there's 2 questions that we need to ask, right? Does Annie have the Vi Ride the Wind? And does Ahri have the Defy? Those are 2 questions that are going to be answered in the next minute, I imagine.
Yeah, we're going to have such a big impactful turn coming up. Does Joni have the answer in those 3 final cards remaining? And more importantly, does Ahri have the counter answers in those 5 remaining cards? We're going to be finding out, as you said, very, very shortly. If not, I'm willing to bet one of these battlefields will be held by Ahri, netting her that nice 7 to final victory point to close things out. But of course, Joni doesn't want to go down that easily. He's going to do the math. He's going to see the lines. What can he possibly do? He still has a champion to get back something like a Ride the Win. That would be enough. I mean, Champion Annie, Ride the Win, and a Vi might just be able to get it done, but you need to have the Vi in hand. That's like the perfect full use of your runes, and you have enough to get that done.
Yeah, and Joni just there, I've seen him hovering over Ahri's trash. He's deciding, how many defies have I seen this game? That's what his brain is doing right now. He has something in hand, but if Ahri can stop it, it's so close. It's a 7-7 game right now. It's anyone's game. It just depends what the next couple of cards that are played are going to be.
Yeah, sometimes you got to play towards your only out. Whether your opponent has it or doesn't is the question. It might just be the only reasonable line you can take in this situation. You either go for it or you're going to end up losing regardless. So I wouldn't blame Joni to try to go for it. I just have a funny feeling that Joni perhaps just doesn't have a Vi in hand. So I think that's what he's thinking about so much.
Yeah, there's definitely a play there because he would have just scooped. So he's looking to get the Annie out. He's looking at his trash. What's he going to grab from the trash is going to be the Ride the Wind. Goes into his hand. 4 runes up. He's the
He's sending it, VMU. He's sending it. Let's see. Is there a Defy in Ahri's hand? This was the exact 1-2-3 combo that Joni needed. Now the question stands: is there a Defy to turn this completely around?
They're teasing us. Oh wait, so he's sending that back. He's using the viability. So he sent the Ride the Wind back to the hand for now. Oh, I'm guessing he's like making him trigger properly. Is there a Defy? That is the game-winning answer right now. He's tapping one. He's retreating. Okay.
He's looking for it. He is digging for the Defy. Yeah.
Are we going to see a scoop?
Oh, he would have dropped that down so fast. I have a feeling this Defy is nowhere to be found.
Still thinking about an answer. What can you do with 2 runes?
I mean, you either have it or you don't. Pretty straightforward. I have a feeling, like I said, it is a scoop. GG. The Ahri player does not have it. I think they're talking about, he's saying like, wow, did you really have the perfect 8-rune combination to get the job done? And he's starting so hot. Slowed down. Kind of was running out of fire, but managed to close things out. Well done. Incredible best of 3 series in our round number 4.